Hi, you're watching Turning the Verge. I'm your hostess, Melinda Meredith, and our guests today are 7-Year War. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Hi.
Good. Okay, let's start with your names and what you do, how you contribute. Start with you.
I'm the bassist in the band. My name is Josh. I'm the bassist in the band. The youngest by a little bit, but just having keeping the low frequencies intact. Trying.
My name's Johannes Sandoval, and I am 24, and I am the singer in the band.
My name is Levi Sandoval, and I'm 21, and I play guitar.
My name's Matt, and I play drums.
How old are you,
Nice.
Matt?
I don't have an age.
Okay. So, how did you guys get started?
Funny story. Me and this guy right here, brothers actually, if you can believe it. We started playing music a long while ago. I'd say probably when we were 13 or so. Started. Been through a few bands, and we decided we wanted to get another band together after a long hiatus. And we started, going through other musicians because I play guitar and he just sang. And so I was like, all right, well, we need a bass and a drum at least. So we went through a few bassists, tried those out. We had a solid one for a little while, and then it just kind of a constant rotation. And then we didn't have a drummer either, a set drummer, because that was just another thing that was in rotation too. But funny thing is, Craigslist came in handy because that's where we found this guy over here, Matthew Zavala, one fine gentleman. Just looking at people. But in all real seriousness, yeah, we found him on there. And after that, we just started, making some good music. Josh is our newest addition. We just picked him up about a few months ago. It's not too shabby either. But, yeah, that's basically that in a nutshell.
So how long have you guys all been playing together as this collective group?
For a little over a year now.
Well, the collective group. 2 months.
Collectively,
Yeah,
with
2
the
months.
new addition, Josh here, just a couple months.
And how many shows have you done
With Josh, or
with Josh?
All together?
2 or 3 with Josh.
Yeah.
Josh is kind of like the critical part in our band because I don't think we really are a band.
Yeah, they call me the new guy a lot.
Newbie?
But that's just what I get. Got to be
Rookie?
initiated.
As you are the new guy.
I'm the new guy.
And going back to you two and starting this band, what influenced you to, do you have personally a message or something that you want to get across? A lot of artists decide to do it in painting, they decide to do it in dance, whatever. You guys decide to do it as band. So what kind of message is that you want to convey?
I guess we're here to just have a good time. At the end of the day, that's...
Yeah.
I think just playing music, we've all been kind of, given a talent to play, so I think we just want to exercise that and, hopefully soak some people out by playing music. But overall, I think when me and Levi first started, it was just kind of a way to, connect and jam and, just hang out with buddies and stuff.
Just have some fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Let loose some energy.
Yeah, exactly. And we surf and stuff and skate, so we're kind of involved, in that scene and stuff. So there's music involved in that scene, and we're always listening to different things or watching surf videos with different music and just hearing different things. And I think it just spurred us to want to get into that and delve into that realm, aside from just surfing and skating and actually being a part of it and maybe actually getting some of our stuff on videos. So what do you think, Leif?
I'd have to agree with Johannes on this. We like to have a good time, and that's what we try to portray through our music, is having a good time and being young. And yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I guess we're positive people as well. I guess our music isn't very much of a downer. We talk about happy things, I guess. I don't know.
Aside from the, you broke my heart and I want it back.
Personally,
love stories.
I don't.
I don't know how. Yeah.
He writes those parts because he gets his heart broken all the time. I have to pick up the pieces like a good brother. It happens.
So are you the sole member that writes the lyrics?
Me and him have collaborated, but for the most part, it's me. I guess the process and how it all goes down is he starts out with like guitar parts, and I'll come in and we'll just like work something together, maybe do some harmonies and stuff, and just figure something out that works. And then it's more finding like a harmony and like something that fits for that song, and then the words just kind of are secondary. I mean, we definitely try to put an emphasis in writing stuff that actually have meaning, as opposed to just writing, fluff.
Whatever, and then matching music to it, of course.
Exactly. So.
And you guys, the bass and drum, do they start with a certain piece and their inspiration wherever they get it from? You guys kind of sneak in your parts, and you just go with what fits along with these guys?
Well, right now, I mean, we're in the studio recording our EP, which we're getting close to being finished. But nice. I think he recorded drums first, so he kind of laid the foundation. And there's times where we're like, okay, we figure out bass lines. How can we make this more interesting, or just keep sound. Just the way the bass and the drum go together, because they do complement each other. They're both like the rhythm part of the band. So I think that definitely, hearing him record, he's a great drummer, so it was pretty easy to come up with cool bass lines to, add on top of it. So.
And is that the way it usually goes with each and every track? You start off with
Well, originally, when we first came into the studio, when we started rehearsing, Levi came up with a guitar riff, and immediately after, about us being in the studio for about half an hour, 45 minutes, we would collaborate, and we'd have drum tracks along with guitars, and then Johannes would lay down his vocals. But as far as the studio goes, recording, I spent about a full day in the studio. I laid down 5 songs straight, and then that's how the process begins of recording. I do all the songs first, drums, and then Levi would come after, and then Josh, and then finally we're actually right now we're starting up vocals with Johannes. So that's as far as the recording process goes. Yeah, I do start everything, but when we write a song, Levi brings the guitar to me, and then we work together on making the drums, and then we work with Josh
and
later.
the rest just follows suit.
Yeah.
That's a good
Definitely.
formula. That's good. Going back to your music, what bands influence you guys? I know this is a cliche question, but try to think back to, not recently, but from the very beginning, with you two, and then going more recently with the rest of you.
It's hard to put a finger on, I guess one, because it's really all.
It's pretty eclectic.
Yeah, it's very eclectic. I guess, just to throw it out there, I guess the most what's the word? Most kind of apparent.
Prominent.
Yeah, prominent influence would be SoCal punk, more Southern California punk rock. What else? But we do definitely have a bit of I guess you could say pop sound to it, but not really when you think of pop bubblegum music or Britney Spears.
Right, none of
or
that.
NSYNC. That's definitely not an influence. But I guess more of a old school kind of 60s where it's more has the hooks to it, I guess.
Right.
Those hooks. But we still keep to our roots as far as SoCal punk rock, but it's just definitely has some more hooks to it, I guess, to keep it more a little catchy. Keep people interested in it.
So we want to think Blink-182,
I guess
Green Day.
we get that a lot, but as far as right now, especially while we're doing our EP, we're really pushing to get out of that stereotype. Because of course, Blink-182 is one of my favorite bands, and been a definitely great influence to me. But no way do I want to mimic what they did.
Right.
No way. By any means, I want to be completely different. I want to be able to people to see a defined line, and that's what we're really doing with this EP is getting out, because people see us live and be like, oh yeah, you guys sound like Blink-182, it's sick, and it's dude, that's not what we're looking for. So that's what we're gonna really do with this EP is really come out and say, hey, we're different,
Good.
When we actually hear that, sometimes we hear that we sound like Blink. It's really flattering to hear that we sound like them, because obviously, they're major influences on us. But yeah, like Levi said, we're not trying to replicate what they do, because we can't. There's no way. They're great musicians. They're great songwriters. Would we like to be at that level one day? Of course, but we're not trying to be like them by any means whatsoever. We all come from very, very different backgrounds. As far as what we write, I started with harder rock, and I did some ska music, and I played hip-hop drums for a little bit.
Yeah, I hear a lot of ska in your music a little bit, definitely.
Yeah, I hear it. But we
An orchestra.
I started off in orchestra, so But
orchestral drum rolls.
We all come from different backgrounds, and it just so happened that we met in the middle. And it sounds like a newer OC punk sort of sound, but we're not trying to make that kind of sound.
Of course.
It kind of comes out that way.
Yeah.
And every artist wants to be their own. They definitely don't want to be like anyone else. So how much of your personal experiences come into fruition in your music? I want to start with you.
Well, me, I didn't really have much involved with like the songwriting process. I mean, these songs, I can definitely relate to them, but I didn't like lyrically have anything to do with the writing of them because a lot of these songs were finished already. I've basically come in, to help, just to be a part of it and just to write, or just to get, be the bassist they need in the band. But lyrically, like definitely, I think the songs are relatable, and people can listen to that and just say, yeah, like I can relate to that, and I think that's the awesome part of music. Like I think music has a way of connecting in ways,
Yes.
and talking about things that are maybe uncomfortable in normal speech.
Definitely.
Which is what I think is really cool about music and just art in general. So.
Definitely. And Levi?
As far as me, we did collaborate in the very beginning, a few songs. I guess I didn't put too much thought. I guess it was just whatever came to mind, whatever I felt was coming for my guitar part or whatever. I guess when I'm personally when I write a guitar part, I guess personal experiences do come out in it because I guess it makes me think of when I play a certain melody or whatever. It makes me think of a certain time in my life or a certain moment or a certain situation, whatever that kind of makes me think of. And so yeah, definitely I'd say, I mean, as any artist would say, I mean, you can't, nothing of your music they can't say, oh yeah, none of it comes from personal experience. Of course, 95% of it is. Like, what else is there to talk about besides personal experience? Yeah, you can talk about others, but I mean, like, for the most part, yeah, it's all personal, like something actually happened to you. And I mean, there is a lot of people, I guess, that do talk about it that are like, don't really, I guess, haven't experienced it. They see it in others, and they do, yeah. A lot of people do write about other situations, never really experienced. But when you really see the soul in music and, like, the real heart of a band or artist, when it's actually, like, they've experienced that and you can see it, like, you can totally see it when they perform. It's like, they're really, what they're talking about, what they're, singing about is, like, yeah, they know what they're talking about, So.
And with your lyrics?
Well, I mean, for the most part, I feel like a lot of the times we want to talk about something that's more relatable to everybody. Because sometimes, with personal experience, it can be just that, personal, where it's something that someone doesn't necessarily fully comprehend because they haven't experienced that. So I think for us, it's a little bit watered down just because, you're reaching out to people. You don't want to, like, alienate anybody because they don't understand what you're going through. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're not really talking about super gnarly things or anything, but I guess at the end of the day, it's just wanting to get across a message of, sometimes life can be, like, really dreary and there's not that sense of hope, but there is a hope. I mean, ultimately, in your, like, lowest of low, there's hope, So I think that's ultimately what we try to get across in the lyrics, aside from whether or not it would be involved in talking from a negative standpoint in one song and then, kind of filling in that, like, last bit just to kind of, fill in that last section. So
Even it out, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, like, even keeled. But overall, I guess, realistically, it's just kind of, pushing out, to say a very corny phrase, positive vibes, but
yeah.
Giving out positive vibes as opposed to negative. Because a lot of times music can come off as really negative. Of the times we've actually written songs is, like, in the moment, he just starts jamming something, he falls on in the bass, and he just gets up a rhythm, and then I listen to them for, like, a couple minutes. And I mean, honestly, I think the majority of our songs are written that way, from that standpoint, in the moment. And I guess, in a way, that is expressing feelings that you are feeling in the moment. Whether it transcends into every instrument is maybe not the case, but overall, I feel like it's a very present feeling. And, I mean, ultimately, you try to replicate that first feeling, and, I mean, you definitely, feel something when you're playing it, and you get stoked on it. Or then you just trash it. But, overall, I think it's very present. We try to keep a present feel to the band. You'd
And
agree?
it's going to change when you play that track at a show 3 months later, 6 months later, whatever. That initial feeling that you had when you came up with that track, it's going to change with every show that you do with the feedback with your audience. So are you guys signed?
No.
Not right now.
And you're
Not
shooting
yet.
for that?
Yep, that's, I think, pretty much what we're doing with this EP is just trying to produce something that's of, a little bit higher quality. That way when we actually put together, like, press pack and we can send it to them, they can actually be like, okay, this is the full encompassing sound. Because sometimes it's like a little bit hard when you have somebody come out to a show. It just could be, an off night. So ultimately we just want to bring it all together in something that's, radio worthy. And I think ultimately that's what our EP right now has been working on. So.
And how many tracks?
5. Yeah.
And what would you say the title track would be?
When We Were Young.
What do you want people to hear first?
Our opening song, Broken Bones and Broken Homes, for sure.
That's
it's a good kickoff song.
That was the first I think it's going to be on it.
That's the first song we ever wrote together.
But what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good
pick. I think the encompassing song of that whole album would be When We Were Young.
Yeah, When We Were Young kind of feels like the beating heart of the EP.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, ultimately, like our EP is titled Goodbye Youth, and I think kind of like typifies what we're trying to express in our songs, basically, is that there's a sense of growing up. You may be forced to grow up due to circumstances, but like ultimately there comes a time when you have to say goodbye to youth. So it's, experiences within that realm, that in-between realm. Maybe you're not an adult and, you just don't know what's going on. You're a little bit lost, but, there's ultimately there's hope, at the end of it. So
one more thing. When is your next show?
if anybody has any locations that are on the cheap,
Backyard parties.
they can send
There
info
you
to facebook.com/7yearwar.
All spelled out.
Yeah.
And for you
And
people,
MySpace?
MySpace 7 Year War,
Yep.
and then even Twitter. Yes, we use Twitter.
We will be getting the new music hopefully up on the new MySpace. On end of January?
Early February.
Early February. Yeah.
Nice.
Good stuff. So. Oh, and our website, it's facebook.com/7yearwar, spell it out, SEVEN Year War.
Thank you for watching Turning the Verge. I'm your hostess, Melinda Meredith. We've been talking with 7 Year War. Thanks a lot, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thank you.
Check us out on Facebook or www.turningtheverge.com.